Well guys, I'm Sean and you're watching Shopworx. Today's marking the start, I guess, of being back around here for a decent amount of time. Everything's local for a bit. Going to be working on the 6-door, but as you can see, we got some good snow last night. Everything all around here is just covered. So there's going to be some other videos coming up with no snow on the ground. Obviously those were taken before this. Just didn't want to release anything without getting the 6-door going again here. So yeah, stick with it. We'll be here. Well, luckily for me, we're inside with this thing, so we're not out in that snow. I'm going to be probably working on some interior and wiring this video, or at least wiring for sure. I want to get some sensors put in for the gauges, the odds and sods that I'm missing for lines and stuff under the hood there, caught up, power steering lines for the Hydro Boost. Do a little more repairs on that foam there. It's coming down in spots. I'm going to get at it with some contact adhesive, get that glued up, and hopefully start laying out the wiring inside for everything I need there. So if you like wiring, this is your video. If you hate wiring, you might learn something. Problem with this is I'm out of space and I got everything piled in here, so before we start anything in the cab here, I'm going to have to remove all the stuff, panels, parts, etc. And we did a bunch of wiring in another video, but now I'm trying to get everything done up for the dome lights, the doors, windows, back stuff there. Gave the vehicle here a CAT scan. Everything looks okay. So yeah, we're gonna start at her. One of the things to be working on here first, I'm going to be probably putting the fuel sensor in. I've made up a fuel heater. How well it's going to work, I don't know. It's worth trying. I'm going to put a temperature switch in here, put a relay back in on it. Basically, it's, well, here, I'll show you. Maybe. Where'd it go? Alright. So, this is my temperature switch. I'm going to be running a relay with it. I'm going to be on at 150 and off at 135, so that's why I need a relay. And put this little glow plug in here. Should be drawing about 8 amps. That should be enough for heating the fuel, my thought of it. As long as it's immersed in fuel, it's going to have adequate cooling. Fuel heats up. I don't know what the flash point on diesel is, but I'm well under that, and should be no oxygen in there. So we'll have this in there, try it out, see if it works. If not, looking at a fuel blanket for it, or possibly both. If this works well, I'm going to be actually modifying a lot of equipment the same way here. I should keep it from gelling in the filters. One of the few things here I started with is I pulled out the old boost pressure line here, or what was left of it, and put in a new line here, running DOT air brake line for it. Gauge I thought I got ended up being not what I thought. I thought it had an electric sender on it. Is what it is. Changing brands. Tried Dakota, I tried Autometer, and I'm just not having luck with some of them. The displays are failing right after warranty, so I got a problem spending $200 US on a gauge and not having it work in 2-3 years. Rather spend 60, 100 and hope for the best. So we're going with glow shift on this thing. So still have to connect the fuel return here and a lot of the turbo piping, but I don't want to put anything in here until I'm done the rest of the wiring. Got the fuel lines here for the fuel heater and all that other stuff that used to be. Stuck on an oil pan heater there a few days back. Going to be running that up to the front. along with the block heater. Well, I will change these out right now. I'm thinking about it. Hopefully it fits and I don't have to refit anything. Okay, that's fuel inlet coming in the other side. It's a dual port, so it's both in. So it should heat up pre-filter part. And it looks like there's lots of room for this to go in there. Get this started and hope it's far enough away from the cooling line here when we're all said and done. I have to play with this a little bit here. Don't like that too much. We will see after though. Same idea, just replacing the plug with the temperature switch. And like I say, if this works out good, we'll be probably doing a bunch of other stuff like this. At least on the older equipment. Well, glow plug's threaded in. Temperature switch is threaded in. I just don't like that little bit of clearance there. I'm going to have to do something, whether I shave some thread off here or do another wrap on the heater hose or something there. Just bothering me. I can twist the top here maybe a little bit, raise it up. Got some options. I'll worry about that once we start building out some more here, so I don't keep kicking myself doing something I shouldn't be, messing something else up. Now for fuel pressure sender here, putting that on, and then we're done monkeying with this. Basically, you just, if not getting enough pressure, it lights up the fuel filter light on the dash there, and you know you got a problem either pump wise or filter plugged or something along that line. Gelled up. Well, now this wire here will have to get extended over to there after when I do the rest of the wiring. Oh, I'm underneath here, getting ready to put the transmission temperature in. This is the test port on here for pressure. Probably the most accurate spot to read your temperature, because that's your whole case temp. The other spot a guy can put it would be up right here, which is basically your oil pan temp, which would be the return out of your cooler. Not too keen on that. I want to know where I'm at temperature wise, so I'm going to be popping her in over here. I've got a sensor that came with the gauge. I'm going to have to check for depth, make sure it'll fit in there first, and without causing any damage. Still haven't filled the transmission or transfer case with oil yet, so check depth with the screw. Oh yeah, we got lots of room there. So it's an 1/8 inch pipe thread on an E4OD. Okay, what I'm going to have to make sure to do now is run the wires up in behind and then under the drive shaft. I've got the wires here already. I ran one cable to the back there for the rear diff temp sensor back in, I don't know, many videos ago. Warning, a lot of people try to run this wire up over the drive shaft. Never ends well. Make sure it's held in underneath here. There's a couple of holes with the tab. You can either do that or tie wrap it in. I'll be looming that, running it down the tranny and wiring it on after, so that's my recommendation for that one. Also, while I'm down here, let's see if we can't get this pyrometer set in here. Guess I could come through the wheel well there, but I chose this location here. I only got one pyro on this one. Mainly just because it's going to be handy to tie into the gauge on the driver's side here somewhere. I don't know which angle I want to put it at though. There. Should work out okay. Run it up and in. Well, the nice thing about the gauge wiring is you don't have to have a heavy gauge for it. Like this stuff here I'm running 18 gauge for. No current on it, don't need it. Well, from this angle you can see where the gauge is going to come out at. And you run it up above the wheel well and up and in where the rest of the ports and everything are coming through here. Been gone so long, I remember finally that I put the temperature gauge back in here when we did that motor and it was out. And got the oil pressure gauge teed into the top of the turbo. I had a fitting there originally for something like that, so I went with it. Not a huge fan of cast iron, but it's going to be what it's going to be, at least for now. Alright guys, what I've been doing here now is I've been taking the old wiring harness for the crew cab. It's off the 97, because I wanted the power door locks for the second row here. And windows. Not sure what I'm doing for the rears yet that way. Obviously I'm going to make the locks work, I'm going to make the windows go up and down. Not sure if I'm going to do it from the back as well as the front or only the front. But for now I'm just concentrating getting the dome lights in up here. And the door switches. I'm going to have to make a set for the back, and then I want to continue on along the rear here for the speakers and everything else that I need to get going here. And once I get all that stuff going, then we can continue on with the fancy wiring. I just want to get the bare bones truck stuff done and then work into the rest of it. So what I'm doing here is out of the crew cab, that would be that rear light. I didn't have a stop light on that one, it was just a cargo light. Just putting that up in here for now in case I do need to monkey with it being the auto tranny. So, and I couldn't remember if this wire is supposed to go through there or go through the hole, but figured behind was better than in front. So, and then I'm going to put some more foil over top here after, just keep everything in and try to insulate it a little better. Making up the back two door switches right now. I have all my lights come on no matter what door I open. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm just taking the wires I need here. I've got these two here are going to be for the light on the door, just your convenience light on with your cab lights. So I'm going to run them back to the third door. It's all going to be LED. I'm not too worried about load. And these are your lock and unlock. I'm going to run them back to the third door as well. And my understanding is, I believe the yellow and black and the red and black are the windows, and the red and blue is power. So I'm probably going to just extend the power off here to the back. For doing the windows, I'll probably put relays back in the door. And once I get all these wires done in here, so I'm adding a bunch of other accessories and USB plugs and things like that. So once I get all these wires put in here, these here are gonna go up in the door here for the lights. Once I get it all done, I'm gonna go back and solder everything up and then tape it up into an actual wire assembly. But the problem is I'm not exactly working from scratch, so I'm trying to make everything work here, and then I'm gonna have to work it through all at once. I'm gonna be running some USB wires for chargers. You know, everybody gets a port on the way back. I want to run some 110 volt plugs in a few spots for inverter, laptop, cooler, etc. Whatever, 500 watt inverter will run a few things in here. And yeah, just little things like that. I got to run the switching wires still from center console up top on the window, and run them down through on each side for the doors, rear doors there. So there's some things I got to get done in here. Well, what I've got done here is I've got my individual wires over here. I got them started taping, so they're all together in a nice factory kind of finish. And I got clips so I can pull on it around here, where I spliced on for my 12 volt USB going up the pillar. And once I get past and around here, I'm tying in. This one here is my window power. Got 12 volt for the door clearance light or marker light or interior light, whatever you want to call it. Got the ground for it. And these are feeding to the rear door locks. So I'm just going to tape them all up. That's about all you can do unless you want to cut the wires, and I'm trying not to change the length on there. Got them all soldered, twisted, soldered. They're a good mechanical connection. Not like the cheap Scotch locks or the butt splices aren't bad, but Scotch locks I'd stay away from. So anyway, got to isolate all these from each other. I'm going to tape them all and then retape them. And then tape them as an assembly, and then we're going to tie on with the rest of these into a harness to the back door there. Well, we got a bunch of the wires loomed up here. Those around, I got spliced in. This is up for USB up in the pillar here. I'll have to put all these in and strap them. And tie it in for the door locks coming to the rear here. And we've got these two are the door locks. That's power for the window. Controls for the window from the front. These tie into here to go to the back. And I'm running up through, got a tie in for the rear light here still. Up through and over to the back end there. I'll probably be putting a fuse block in and everything else way down at the far end over there. And the rest of this passes through over to the other side and back and forth for lights and etc. So it's all sort of cut to length and just needs to be laid in and screwed down. Pretty much all my joints here have been soldered and heat shrunk where possible. If not, at least wrap a tape up and back, so that should be at least four pieces coverage of it. So A lot more to do still here. Got everything to do for the gauges and switches and everything up top. I'm just working on the back end right now. Next problem I've been looking at is these speakers are going to be too shallow here, so something else I got to work on. Slide your heat shrink on first. Alright, I'll pull my power pack off now. Make sure these things all work. Be a lot better than what was in there as far as lights go. 1, 2, and 3 in here. Got 2 in the side-by-side lights are up pretty good at dark. Well guys, a little bit of an update here on the work in progress. There's only so much taping and soldering and stuff I can throw on a camera here and feel good about. So I'm going to be putting power inverter here under the driver's seat just so I can keep the distances short. I'm going to be putting fuse blocks up underneath. Got a starter, an alarm in there. I've got a 12 volt relay in here. It's going to be for my accessory fuse panel. Other fuse panel will be going back in here. And again, the switches, etc. are going to be going in. So I'm running some of the wires down here. Still have to run some more. I need power for the inverter plus the wires to turn it on and off. What I'm going to be doing is taking a little switch out of the front here, and the 2 wires there I'll be running to a dash switch, and dual 40 amp fuses for a 500 watt inverter, so keeping it close. Got everything else loomed into the kick panels here and done to the back, and to cut the heater wire off and extend it so it's going all the way up to the front. I'm going to have to put a new piece on for the end to connect to the control panel, which will be going underneath the steering wheel there. I'm going to have to run the wires across for the speaker, passenger side, and the lights up in the canopy there. It goes back to, I'm going to have a switch and a diode in the back there, so I guess if the guy's up in the front here and you open the door, everything will come on. I'm also going to have the back on a separate switch, so if I'm not up in the front and I just want to open the back and dig for something, I can just open the back up, flick the switch, lights will come on in the back only. So I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be putting a fuse block back in the back there. I'm going to be running power from there into the back for the tailgate, because it's being controlled unconventionally here for as far as the Bronco goes. So I'm going to be doing that, running the power panel back there, the switches, etc. I'm I still got a little bit tie-in up on the roof and re-insulate it. And then I've got all the wires to fish through the A-pillars for the switches up top and gauges and all that great stuff to go. Kind of hard working in here on this right now because I don't have any room in the back and I don't have a whole lot of room up at the front. So kind of before I do all the gauges and everything, I got to build out fenders and start putting the battery mounts, the wheel tubs, all that other stuff in here. I'm kind of holding off on doing that because that just brings everything wider and fuller out to the front. I'm also going to be putting bracing up in the front here as well between the spring purchase. So I'm a big believer in these fuse panels. These ones here are microblade. I don't know how I ended up with them. I must have grabbed the wrong ones off the shelf. I got some other ones coming, the normal regular sized ATOs, I believe, or ATC fuses. What do they call them? Just blade fuse, I don't know. I always called them ATOs. Doesn't say. So, I'm going to be using the regular size fuses, so they're the same as what I have in the fuse box. Blow something important, you can always steal, borrow, bag, grab one out of the glove box, whatever. Still got the trailer brake wiring to do. Still have the GPS to install for GPS tracking and immobilizing. Yeah, slowly coming along. So what I'm going to be doing with a lot of the stuff here is I've got 18 gauge wire, and what I do with that is I'll run relays with it. So I'm going to be running a relay under the hood for my light bar. I'm going to be running a relay under the hood for the fuel heater, and just things like that. Same with, I'm going to put a couple of relays in right down here for the door lock on the passenger side. I need a relay both ways to make that door lock system work out because you're switching a ground as well as a hot. I need 2 relays in the rear door, 2 relays in the other rear door, and 2 relays in the tailgate. And then I can make everything work out proper with the switching. Well, what I like doing here is I use MIG wire off the welder and fish it through the A-pillar with that. Usually goes pretty good down and goes pretty good back up. So. Angle everything here and keep at it. The reason I'm fishing these down the passenger side is I got a lot going in the other side as well, so anything I put in here, the better off I am. Well, the reason I didn't tape them going up there is almost impossible to get something that hard through there with that many wires and still be able to bend and pull and everything. So what I'm going to do is loom this stuff here. These are going back over. The red and the black are for the USB ports, and these are for the stereo switch up in the console. And tuck them back up and in the rest of the wires here. Still going to have to run more over here for the door locks as far as the remote starter goes later on. but I'll probably be concentrating on that kind of after I get all the rest of the wiring done here. So I don't know, you guys want smaller, shorter videos and more often, or what are you kind of thinking there? You know, some of this stuff's so monotonous and takes forever, kind of like doing this wiring, you know, like I could be here, what, day 3 working on it, a little here and a little there, in between some regular jobs. So let me know in the comments, I guess, if you want them shorter and more frequent, or what you really want to see there. Especially on this time-consuming stuff, this finishing just it'll take forever and ever. So again, going to be doing the MIG wire trick here. Got one going down the A-pillar, the other one through the grommet I snapped in there. I just fished it down, through, down, nope, where the e-brake handle is. That's where I've been doing them all fairly decent. So I got this one tied in down here. You can tell I got a fairly decent assortment of wires going up there. Need every one of them from what I can tell. Getting pulled in. Oh, I got that ball. It's a little too big to come out through here. I'm just going to tie them together and pull it through. You can see why I have that bushing in there. Keep them wires from getting all chewed up when you're driving down the road. Which ones those three are, and we'll get them pulled. So out of all those, 3 of them, these 3 here were the wires to go out for the rear door, driver's side door. Other than that, the rest are all gauges, future winch wires if I want to add a winch on the front there. Some stuff for a radio contactor, or a relay, I guess, turn the radio on and off. Yeah, just gauge illumination. 3 of these I had to extend for the oil pressure gauge. So got a little selection up there now. Well guys, it's looking more and more like a war zone in here, so probably gonna end it here. It's December 23rd, so I'd like to wish you guys all a Merry Christmas and show you what I got here one last time here. Got a whole bunch of wires routed in for tying in for instrument up in my upper console and my upper gauge pod. Those have to be extended, but as of right now I think I've got everything I need. Tranny temp, water temperature, pyro. Still have to run in the boost gauge. You see I gotta tidy all this stuff up in here still, but got my main power pulled in here with the fuse block. I got the fuse block mounted. Got most of my switch legs going back and forth everywhere. I got everything but the ham radio done up over here. The antennas pulled for it. Other antennas are pulled for the radio, for the Wi-Fi and the GPS. You're going to have a lot of stuff to loop between all the switching still. Started putting some of the car starter parts in here. Probably going to leave it to the end. At least if I do the car starter at the end there, then I know if there's any problems, I know why and what. So get it running first before I connect all the other stuff to it. And as you can tell, I got a lot of wires coming through here. Forgot to pull the mic cable in for the radio, so I might just pop it somewhere else. At the back, I've got my power and ground for the tailgate. I've got my switch legs for the tailgate that run underneath. I got my fuse block mounted and the ground stud for it. Pre-wire for an amplifier if I decide to go that way. And I got one of these coming with a 6-hole in it, so I can run 2 switches. 2 cigarette lighters or 3 and 1 USB. The reason I'm going with the 2 switches is one for the lights up here, and the second one for the USB because it always seems to draw power. And that'll give me a access panel in, be able to get stuff in here as well without pulling the whole panel off. So, like I say, getting a lot of stuff in here. About time to clean it out again. So, I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and I want to see the rest of this going on here. Like, subscribe, and hang on for the ride. Just trying to keep it short and get one out before Christmas here for you. It's been so long coming, so have a good one. Merry Christmas.